All right, we're back here on SportsLine, taking your calls tonight, having good stuff out there as well. And we go back to the phone lines. Mike has been waiting on. Mike, we appreciate that. You're next up here.
Hey, Steve, I really appreciate you keeping your composure with these people wearing you out on the phone tonight, man. And I just want to tell you, you're doing a great job.
I love it. Thank you.
Hey, I got a question to ask. If we went out with the next 4 games we have as the Titans down to claim that they're going to win, would that give us home field advantage for the playoffs? And my other question is, Monteroni, or how you say his name, is our quarterback. Do you think he might be going to the pro? And I'll hang up, and thanks for your time, and have a great day, man. Thanks for all you're doing.
Thanks for the call, Mike. I think the Titans have several guys that can get real Pro Bowl consideration this year. Mariota's definitely one of them. If you look at it, I talked about the numbers since week 5, but even over the course of the year, he's been a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. So I think Marcus Mariota should be in the Pro Bowl this year if he can continue at any close to this rate down the stretch of the season. I think DeMarco Murray's got a chance to be in the Pro Bowl. I think Delaney Walker could be in the Pro Bowl again. I think Rashard Matthews maybe could make an argument by the end of the year. And defensively, Arakpo, Morgan, those guys certainly have good arguments as well. Maybe even Jarrell Casey again. There's a handful of Titans guys that should get consideration. And as far as the first question about what the Titans do down the stretch, if they win 4 games, if they win these last 4, it's almost a certainty that they're going to win the AFC South. It probably is a certainty because they would beat the Texans in the final game. So unless the Texans win their other 4 games, that would be the only scenario in which the Titans wouldn't win the division. And if they win the division, the Titans then would get no worse than home field advantage for the first game of the playoffs as a division champion. At this point, it looks like even 10-6, which would be winning the last 4 games, that's probably the 3rd seed at best, most likely the 4 seed. And so you'll host one of the wild card teams in round 1. That's probably all you get in terms of a home game in the playoffs. But think about this. We're talking about the Titans potentially making a playoff run, winning the division, and if they get in as the division champion, which is pretty much the path at this point for them, if they get in as the division champion, they'll get a home playoff game. I mean, if you could have said that that was a possibility at the beginning of the year, I think every Titans fan would have signed up for that. All right, let's go to Sylvester. Good evening, Sylvester. You're next up here on SportsLine.
Good evening, Steve. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. Thank you for the call.
Great. I just want to mention about Mariota. I think he's a good quarterback overall. You know, I think he's a good coach, too. I think it's very tough. I think they could do Super Bowl. You know, I think their mission is the team that I think it's a bond that people have through the old days they kind of had when they were pretty much in the old days. They would eat at each other's home or vacation together. Something that could build that unity and that cohesiveness that will apply on the field as well. And to elaborate on Tennessee, I think Kurt did hurt the team in a sense, but a lot of their shortcomings is really the quarterback decision. You know, I think he's good at running, but overall being able to find an open receiver, it's just a Hail Mary or a lucky play in some cases. I think Dobbs didn't make a lot of good plays to hurt Tennessee long term.
Yeah, thank you for the call, Sylvester. And sorry we had a little bit of a bad connection there. But look, the Stars for Tennessee turned the ball over this year. And that's something they also didn't do last year. And I don't know where that comes from. Josh Dobbs put the ball on the turf too much this year. We even saw it the other night against Vanderbilt. Alvin Kamara had some big fumbles this year for Tennessee. Cam Sutton, first game of the year, fumbles the ball against Appalachian State on the punt return, kind of set the tone. This is a team that has some real stars that a year ago down the stretch played their best. They secured the football and they won games. This year from the start, they did not secure the football. And I don't know where that comes from. Is that on Butch Jones? Guys who protected the ball a year ago didn't protect the ball this year. I don't know. I struggle to put that blame on the coach. There's a lot of things that come back to him, and like I said earlier, ultimately the blame stops at his feet. But there are certain things about this season and about this team that are just weird when you look at Tennessee. And the turnovers, which is a lot what you're talking about, I don't know who gets all the blame for that. At some level, the players have to execute better, and that's on them. Let's go to LD. LD, hello.
Hey, how you doing, Steve?
Doing well.
Let's start off with you're fired. No, I touched the grass this year, Steve. OTAs, man, you're hired. I touched the grass this year, and I put my hand down there, man. And that grass is awesome, man. That St. Thomas Sports Park grass, it was just awesome. And touching that grass, man, I'm just saying that the Titans, they're not going to leave that grass without giving 100%. They're fired. I mean, but, I will tell you this. Mike Mularkey, he's hired. I would take Mike Mularkey any day in my Nashville Cumberland's basketball organization to be hired. But I'm fired. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying seriously. I'm going to talk seriously. Josh Dobbs, man, that guy has put on the show, man. I've seen him mature. I've seen him under the ball, and this is really LD saying that Josh Dobbs has matured enough to be an NFL quarterback, and he has taken on the big screen. The big games that had him on television, he knew that he was on television, and he tried not to take on a team and not know that he was on the national spotlight. Therefore, he, I think, lost just 3 or 4 games. How many games he's lost so far? He's awesome, man. I've seen the guy take over games. Butch Jones threw him under the bus. This is really LD. You can fire me. You don't have to listen to me. I'm fine. But he threw those guys under the bus years before, talking negative of them, and then putting their numbers out there. Those guys were not ready for national spotlight with a coach that says number so-and-so needs to get his act together. They're young. They're not even ready. And they're not as federal, I'm going to use the word federal, as other players that have went pro. These guys, man, are major keys. Jalen Hurd knew he was a major key. So what you do as a major key, you go somewhere and you plant that key to sprout. Not to diss Butch Jones, to sprout. Not to diss Josh Dobbs, say, I don't want to hand off from you anymore. And that's the complication of the SEC. Handing off the ball to a quarterback as Josh Dobbs is and saying, we're going to back off and watch you excel. I haven't seen a Russell Wilson stadium. I haven't seen it since Russell Wilson went to the pros and won a Super Bowl. And the Seahawks shouldn't win. The Cowboys are hired.
All right, LD, we appreciate the call. Congratulations to Josh Dobbs on a great career. And by the way, what class he showed the other night. That was a tough loss for Tennessee. He did not play as well as I'm sure he'd like to. And as Vanderbilt's running around the field and celebrating, because it was a huge win for them, he immediately walks over and congratulates Derek Mason and several other Vanderbilt players before he walks off the field. When you talk about the criticism or the character issues within the Tennessee football team, Josh Dobbs isn't a guy you're pointing to. Josh Dobbs is absolutely the type of leader you want to have. And is he the best pure quarterback that you're ever going to see? No. But what he did as a college quarterback at Tennessee should be applauded. And his behavior off the field, in terms of being a leader, in terms of being a model citizen, as in terms of being a genius in aerospace engineering or whatever it is, that all should be applauded because he is the model of a student-athlete leader and what you want. Butch Jones wishes he has more Josh Dobbs. And that's maybe part of the problem is guys like Jalen Hurd didn't follow that lead. And that led to some of the division within the Tennessee program. Let's squeeze in Steve here before our break. Steve, good evening. You're next up here on SportsLine.
Good evening, Steve. It's good to talk to you.
Thank you.
And looking at the Tennessee Vols, they had their year just turnover. If you lose a turnover battle, you're not going to win games. I mean, that's just turnover. And they lost so many players on defense. It was a kid, Reese Maven, and it was from Clarksville, where I'm from.
Right.
When you lose a captain and a quality player like that, and they don't have as many players as they need to really rotate and have that one to fall in like Alabama. Alabama's probably got 100 ball players down there, and we probably got 100, but Alabama's got 100 3, 4, and 5 star players.
Right.
And you hadn't give Saban's been there a decade or more, and you're going to have to give Jones a chance to get, another year or two under his belt to get him in there. And we don't know what the inside that locker room is like, but we know, Vanderbilt would stand them up and strip them. And ball security, when you're allowed to hold a player up and stop his forward momentum, the whistle wasn't, I think, was terribly late on some of those plays, because that's what Mason is, the coach at Vanderbilt. He's a defensive coordinator coach, and he's going to, get a good offensive coordinator in there. One that, he may have him now, may not. But that's what makes that team so well, and they gelled from defense and stripping that ball and winning the turnover battle. And to say if you lose that battle, you're going to lose most of the time, even in the pros.
Yep.
Mariota, for anybody to say that he's not, he's a star athlete at the quarterback position in the game now. His red zone numbers, they're impeccable.
They're unbelievable. There's no question about it. Steve, I appreciate the call. Mariota in the red zone, 32 touchdowns, 0 interceptions in his career. You talk about turnovers. Turnovers are the difference in just about every game, 99% of them at every level. You're talking high school football, college football, the NFL. If you win the turnover battle, you've got a great chance to win. If you lose the turnover battle, you're probably not going to win. And that's one of the great strides Mariota has taken, is over the past 8 weeks, he's got 21 touchdown passes, 3 interceptions. That's how you win. That's how you give your team an opportunity to win. Tennessee this year turned the ball over too many times. That's how you lose the opportunity to win games. And that's just kind of the bottom line. They lost a lot of people. The injuries were a huge factor for Butch Jones and this Tennessee team. But at the end of the day, you got to figure out a way to overcome. And I think you made a really good point there, Steve, is when you look at Alabama and you look at Tennessee, there's 5 stars starting for both teams there. The starting lineup isn't all that different in terms of talent, at least before Tennessee got beat up and injured. But the thing is, at Alabama, the backups are 5 stars, or at least 4 stars. In Tennessee right now, they're 3 stars. And that's the challenge for Butch Jones, is to get to that next level to be able to compete with teams like that. But the other issue for Butch Jones is he lost to South Carolina and Vanderbilt, who don't have the talent he has. And that's something he's got to address this offseason. Got to take a break. We'll come back. More SportsLine right after this.